Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping right into the architecture of New York City. Quite a story there.
It really is. We've got some great material here tracing, the whole evolution.
Yeah, from the very beginning, the first settlements, right up to the skyline we see today.
Exactly. And it's amazing how the buildings themselves, the styles, they tell you so much about the history, the ambition,
Yeah.
even the culture at the
Oh,
time.
yeah, totally. We're going to look at those big shifts, how different eras left their mark. It's quite a journey.
It absolutely is. It's like a timeline written in stone and steel, isn't it? Each style showing you what was important then, technology, money, what people were aiming for.
Okay, so let's start way back. Colonial times, 1600s, 1700s, New Amsterdam, right? The Dutch era.
Right. And the architecture then was, well, pretty practical. Think simple wooden buildings.
With those really steep roofs I read, apparently that was a big thing.
Yeah, very distinctive. And necessary, really. Help deal with the snow and ice in winter.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps laid off.
Makes sense. And they had those Dutch gabled houses, that sort of triangular top on the front wall.
Exactly, the gables. Very characteristic of Dutch design back then. Kind of a little piece of home for them, maybe?
Is there anything left from that time? It feels so long ago.
There is, actually. The Wyckoff farmhouse out in Brooklyn. It's amazing it's still standing. Gives you a real sense of that period. Simple, sturdy.
Wow. Okay, so the Dutch are there, and the British arrive. New Amsterdam becomes New York.
And the whole vibe changes, architecturally, too.
Yeah. Georgian style comes in. What does that look like?
Think red brick. Lots of symmetry, very balanced facades, and usually white trim around the windows and doors. It's much more formal, more orderly than the Dutch stuff.
Right, like a statement of the new regime almost.
Sort of, yeah. It reflected what was fashionable in Britain, classical ideas about proportion and harmony. It was definitely an expression of the new power structure.
Is there a key example of that style we can still see?
Oh, absolutely. St. Paul's Chapel, Lower Manhattan, is from 1766.
Wow, that old.
Yep. One of the oldest churches in the city. And it's pure Georgian. Beautifully symmetrical, elegant lines. You can really feel that sense of order.
It's amazing how these early styles just set the foundation,
Yeah,
for everything that came later.
totally. Practicality first, then imported tastes, and then, well, then things really started to take off.
Okay, let's leap forward. The 1800s. Big century for New York.
Huge. You've got industrialization kicking into high gear, massive waves of immigration. The city's just exploding.
And the skyscraper is born. That must have felt like science fiction back then.
It must have. It was such a period of dramatic change, a lot of it driven by new technology.
Like, what made skyscrapers possible?
Well, Bessemer steel was a massive one. Suddenly you could make strong steel cheaply and in large quantities, essential for tall building frames.
Ah, right. Not just brick anymore.
Exactly. And also cast iron became really important.
Oh, like in SoHo, those facades?
Precisely. SoHo is like a museum of cast iron architecture. It let builders create these really elaborate, decorative fronts with big windows, much bigger than you can easily do with stone or brick.
They are gorgeous buildings. And I saw a note about the E.V. Howout building from 1857.
Yes, a classic example. Beautiful cast iron work.
But the really mind-blowing thing, it had the world's first passenger elevator. Is that right?
That's the one, Otis Elevator. It's hard to even imagine tall buildings without elevators now, isn't it?
I mean, seriously, how did they manage? That single invention just changed everything about building upwards.
Completely. The elevator plus the steel frame,
Yeah.
that's what unleashed the skyscraper.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about building high, it changed how cities functioned. And cast iron let them add all that visual flair relatively easily. New York really started reaching up then.
So the city's growing taller, and then this other style comes along, Beaux-Arts. Sounds very fancy.
Oh, it is. Very grand, very ornate. Think European palaces, but in New York.
Right. Lots of decoration, columns, arches.
Exactly. Symmetry was key. Grand entrances, sculpture integrated into the design. It was all about projecting power, culture, permanence. New York showing off its status on the world stage.
And we have some absolute icons from that era still. The New York Public Library.
A perfect example. Those lions,
Right.
the huge reading rooms. It's meant to impress.
And Grand Central Terminal, too, right?
Absolutely. Another masterpiece.
Yeah.
Breathtakingly beautiful, but also incredibly functional. Designed to handle massive crowds efficiently.
It's amazing how they blended that elegance with, practicality.
That was the goal. These weren't just pretty buildings. They were civic monuments, meant to inspire the public, to show the importance of knowledge or transport or whatever the building was for. Real belief in architecture's civic role.
Okay, fast forward again. Roaring 20s, the Jazz Age. And Art Deco.
Yes, now we're talking classic New York skyscrapers. The 20s and 30s, that was really the golden age.
It feels so energetic, that style. Modern, glamorous.
It really captured the spirit of the time, didn't it? That optimism, the speed, the machine age. It was a move away from copying historical styles like Beaux-Arts.
Towards what? What are the key features?
Sleek lines, geometric patterns, zigzags, chevrons, use of modern materials like stainless steel, chrome, streamlined forms. Very distinct.
And the icons are just, wow. The Chrysler building first.
Oh, the Chrysler, that spire, the gargoyles that look like radiator caps. It's just pure Art Deco fantasy, a masterpiece of ornamentation.
Totally unique. And then, the big one, the Empire State Building.
The king, for decades, the tallest in the world, became an instant symbol, not just of New York, but of American power and ambition.
And there was that race, wasn't there? The fun fact.
Huh, yes. The Chrysler building was actually the world's tallest.
For like 5 minutes.
Well, for about 11 months, actually.
Yeah.
Until the Empire State Building topped out in 1931. Intense competition, pushing engineering to its limits.
Incredible. Just incredible feats of building. They still define the skyline.
They absolutely do. Enduring symbols.
So after World War II, the mood shifts again. We get modernism.
Yep, a pretty radical shift, actually, away from all that Art Deco decoration.
Well, that takes its place.
Clean lines, simplicity, honesty of materials, glass and steel become really prominent. Functionality is paramount. Think form follows function. Less ornamentation, more focus on the structure itself.
Right, kind of a less is more approach.
Exactly. The Seagram building from 1958 is often seen as the gold standard.
Ah, designed by Mies van der Rohe.
That's the one, that sleek bronze and glass tower. It set the template for corporate HQs for decades. Very elegant, very influential, but definitely minimalist.
Okay, so modernism dominates for a while, but then people start reacting against it. Enter postmodernism.
Precisely. By the 70s and 80s, some felt modernism had become a bit, well, cold or sterile, impersonal.
So postmodernism wanted to bring back
Flair. Personality. Historical references, but often used in a playful, sometimes ironic way. Ornamentation came back, color, unusual shapes. It was about making buildings more engaging, maybe more communicative.
And the famous example is the AT&T building, right? Now 550 Madison.
Yes, with that broken pediment top that looks like a giant piece of Chippendale furniture.
Huh. Yeah, you can't miss it. It definitely wasn't minimalist.
Not at all. It was a deliberate poke in the eye to strict modernism. Caused a huge stir. Really made people talk about architecture and taste again. It showed architecture could be commentary.
Which kind of brings us towards today, the 21st century. What's happening now in New York architecture?
Well, there's still a huge amount of innovation, but I think two big themes are resilience and sustainability.
Resilience. Obviously, One World Trade Center comes to mind.
Absolutely. It's a hugely powerful symbol, not just of rebuilding, but looking forward. It anchors that skyline again.
And I saw the vessel mention that structure in Hudson Yards.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Very different. It's about creating new kinds of public space, interactive experiences within the city fabric, rethinking urban plazas.
And the sustainability piece feels really critical now.
Oh, definitely. It has to be. Architects are much more focused on energy efficiency, green roofs, sustainable materials, reducing the carbon footprint. It's becoming standard practice, really.
Like the Edge observation deck, using green tech.
Exactly. That's a good example of integrating environmental considerations into a major tourist attraction even, trying to minimize impact. That's the direction things have to keep moving in.
So wrapping this up, it's just been amazing tracing this whole arc from, simple Dutch houses dealing with snow
to these super tall, super smart buildings dealing with climate change.
Yeah, it really shows how the city's architecture is constantly reflecting its challenges, its dreams, its evolution. It's a living history book.
It truly is. And it's not just New York, of course. You see echoes of these trends globally. But New York often feels like the place where it happens first or biggest. That interplay of technology, money, culture, it's all there in the buildings.
It really makes you think. And maybe for everyone listening, after hearing all this, what's your favorite building in New York? Is it the history, the style, just the look of it?
Yeah. Why does it connect with you? Think about the stories those buildings hold. The people who designed them, built them, lived and worked in them. It's more than just structures.
Definitely. So next time you're walking around the city, maybe look up a bit more, see the details. There's so much history, so much design packed into every block.
And who knows what the next iconic style or building will be. The city never stops changing.
True. Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.